Hi, I'm Bybreen and welcome back to another episode of Soul Stirring Astrology, where I give you my textured take on the world of astrology. Well, welcome back to my Saturn series. Today it's Saturn in Virgo, as well as Saturn in the 6th house. So when we're dealing with Virgo, the associations tend to be around work and service and the body. And there's also an association in terms of being virginal. And that isn't necessarily that you haven't had sex, but this sense of purification, holding on to oneself, having a sense of self-possession, that whatever experiences you go through in life, there's a sense that you're able to hold yourself separately from others, as well as finding ways to serve others. And it touches very much on the body. Now, with the body, what we're looking at is how healthy are you? It's about, can you find a way whereby you're beginning to purify your body? Saturn in the 6th house or in Virgo could show you that there may be a proneness to illness. And that's because you haven't found a way to fine-tune or integrate the experiences that you've been through. And particularly the journey from the 1st house to the 5th house. Because if you think about the astrological chart, it's split into 12 houses. So the first 6 houses are all about you. And then the last 6 houses are about you in relation to other people. And so when you get to Saturn in the 6th house or in Virgo, there may be a breach in terms of you finding a way to integrate the experiences. What you're being called for is, what have you learnt? What wisdom can you extract? And then apply that to yourself. So there is a sense of a breakdown in terms of your mind, your body and the spirit. Now there's more of a recognition that, we're made up of these different components. The construction of our bodies isn't just about the physical body and then treating it from an allopathic point of view, but it's more about an integrative model. And how are you finding ways to bring that together? Because that's what Saturn in Virgo wants you to do. Now, there may be a fear of doing all of this, and the fear can show up that you're the perfectionist. How many people do you know that you see them beating their chest? I'm a perfectionist. Or you've got the overworker. And what these two ways of being could actually act as a defense against you doing the work. And the reason being is because the perfectionist, there could be this drive towards I'm not really good enough, so I need people to need me. And a way in which I can do that is if I excel at everything at the cost or to the detriment of what my inner world needs. And that's what Saturn here is pointing you towards. How do you begin to service the different parts of your psyche? Because by servicing the different parts of your psyche, you can then take that learning into the journey when you move from the 7th to the 11th house, and then integrate again when you come home to the 12th house. And that's what it's calling on you to do. How do you find meaning? How do you extract the meaning? Because don't forget, Virgo and the natural 6th house are ruled by Mercury. So with Mercury there is this sense of this deep analysis, wanting to make sense, wanting to integrate in a way you've analysed, you've synthesised, you've come to a sense of meaning, and that meaning is then used to serve the world or whoever your clients are. So last night, for example, I was at Brixton Library, and it was for the launch of David Lammy MP, his forthcoming book called Tribes, and it was a packed house in Brixton Library. It was brilliant. And what it was an exploration of the concept of tribes, which started when he had a DNA test and wanted to explore his background, particularly from his African background. And then last night there was this kind of fusion and understanding, wanting to understand what is the body politics of Britain. And looking at the narrative of Britain, understanding the pecking order of Britain. So we were all invited to kind of explore this, and he looked at it from the prism of Brexit. Brexit could be seen as a way of wanting to take back control. There was white privilege, white supremacy, there was Windrush, there was Grenfell Towers. There was the rise of the fourth industrial revolution because of technology, and then the rise of millennials and the aging population and the pension crisis. It was a brilliant exploration of looking at Great Britain and its body politics. And actually what lessons have been learned from the houses, from the first to the fifth house, now that we're looking at the sixth house of Saturn in Virgo. Now, I don't know whether David Lammy has Saturn in Virgo in his own chart, but the whole night was an exploration of where is the schism that exists within the UK and how can it be healed. It's just a great example of Saturn in Virgo, or Saturn in the sixth house, and given that he is an MP, that's associated with Saturn, and he's there in service of other people. He was also saying, you know, being at Brixton Library was like therapy for him. It was wonderful to come home because obviously it's such a contrast to his life in Westminster. And it is in this service, and that statement is an example of how one begins to integrate the mind, the body, the spirit, and to nourish the mind, body and spirit. And in the nourishment of the mind, body and spirit, you can then go out into the world to serve in a meaningful way. Saturn in the sixth house is also, once one has gone through that journey, you could be an excellent healer. You know, surgeons and nurses and doctors are just other examples of what this means. So, you know, if you haven't done your internal work, what may show up for you is that you're still in what I call the fixing business. You're always fixing the outside world. You know, something frustrates you, you've got to be the one that's fixing it, or you're bossing other people around as to what needs fixing. Again, it's a defense mechanism for you because you fear taking on what the real problem is. You could be somebody, for example, that has been in your job for many years, and you hate your job, you hate the boss, you hate the environment and everything that's happening within the world of work, but you stay there. Why? Because you fear, or you may lack the courage to take on what needs to be dealt with in order to liberate yourself. And if you do go down this journey, if you do fine-tune your inner world, you will find it will lead you to individuation. So that's it, beautiful people. That is Saturn in Virgo, or Saturn in the sixth house. If you have it there, how does it show up in your life? Put your comments in the comment box below. Let's get into a little bit of a dialogue around this. You can also like and share this episode, and you can subscribe to my channel. If you'd like a personal reading, get in touch, bybreensamuels@googlemail.com. And I will see you again on the next episode, where I'll be dealing with Saturn in Capricorn, Capricorn even, one of the houses that it's dignified in. So stay well, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.